Hello, everybody. Welcome to Environmental Social Justice. I'm your host, Wendy Nystrom. And today we have a special guest. We have Christine Garde-Denning. She is the founder and CEO of Could You? So welcome to the show, Christine.
Thank you so much for having me. Glad to be here.
Anytime. And you are doing wonderful things. Before we dive into our topic today, could you explain really quickly what led you to be a founder of Could You?
I started the nonprofit in 2008, and it was our mission then is not the same as it is now. So we started it because there was a lot of American donors who felt like they had invested money in charity and business in Africa and they were losing it. And they felt like when they did the same in America, they were having good return on investment. And so they thought we need to create a new entity that would allow us to match people of integrity in Africa with people of integrity in the West, that together they could do charity or business. So that's how we originally started the organization.
That's fabulous. And you're absolutely right. It's sometimes difficult to get people of integrity on both sides to connect together. So it's really awesome that you found that level. And today's topic, some people might find uncomfortable, but it's something we actually do desperately need to normalize, which is menstruation, women's menstruation and menstrual equity. So we're going to talk about that today and the necessity of normalizing it. But first, could you explain what menstrual equity is?
Yes. There are 500 million menstruators around the world, including really every country, including our own here in America, where girls and women can't afford to purchase monthly a product. And therefore, it is affecting, they're missing school, they're missing work. It really is having incredibly difficult impact every month for 500 million users.
And, I like the fact you brought up work and school because people just think, oh, as you said, it's expensive. Can't just go out and buy it. So that means depending on where you live, you're either stuck at home or in certain countries, you're kind of ostracized. It's still seen as a stigma. You need to go away for a while. And that can actually open up a lot of violence towards women, not keeping young girls safe. So it's important that we have these products so they can feel safe and go to school and go to work. So, and the vulnerability of that. So what have you seen on your end?
Right.
So a couple stories, I guess, just to paint the picture so people understand.
Absolutely. I'll give one from America and then one from Africa. So Perfect. In America, I've spoken to girls in high school that are either here in San Diego or in New York City who say they're in a family that can't afford, they might have 3 sisters, single mom, they can't afford products. And so they're telling me they're sometimes using a tampon for 16 hours, which is a recipe for toxic shock syndrome. Or they will say they truly miss school 3 to 5 days every month because I'm not going to go to school with just rolled up toilet paper. And if you bleed heavy, I mean, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Or they've said, oh, I find an older boy. I know he has a car. He has a job. I get with him and, he'll buy me my products. That's what I've heard in America. Then in Africa, we have seen ever since COVID in Geneva at the World Health Assembly, they stated that the number of girls having transactional sex for pads has increased significantly since COVID, which has also in turn increased STIs, teen pregnancy and child marriage. And so there really is a problem when there are girls who are forced into, there's girls in Ghana who would say, we wanted to continue to go to school. We were missing too much. And so a boda driver said he'd have sex with me and buy me a box of pads. And they thought, well, this is one step in the right direction. So those are 2 examples that kind of drive me to do what I do.
Absolutely. I had no idea it was being used for transactional purposes, which that's just robbing young girls of their childhood and being able to develop, independently as strong women. That's awful. I'm just going to say that's awful. I did not know that personally. So you're coming up with an extraordinarily viable solution, and most people have not heard of the cup. So if you could explain what that is.
Yes. And I'm so glad that we have an opportunity because the menstrual cup has actually been around 88 years. And so how is it, I had not heard of it either until I started this work. So how is it that the true safest, greenest, cheapest menstrual solution that's been around this long is not common knowledge? But the menstrual cup over the years has continued to get better and better. It is now made of 100% medical grade silicone. It is something that lasts a minimum of 10 years. So when you get a menstrual cup, it might take you 3 months to get used to using it because perhaps it's something you've not tried before. I personally took 3 months. But the reality is once you get it, you don't buy a box of pads or tampons for a decade. So to me, it's like, why are we looking at an issue that's impacting 500 million people? And we know there's a proven, safe, green solution. Why is it not at scale?
Oh, I can tell you. Marketing. People want you to buy, 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 buy. That's
Right.
why.
Right? I mean, they do say that the disposable tampon and pad industry is a $40 billion a year industry. Wouldn't we, as consumers, they're wanting us to be able to spend $10 a month for 40 years every month rather than so yes, that is we're fighting a messaging problem. And it feels like the greatest secret. It shouldn't be a secret, but I never learned about it at school. They're still not teaching about it in our schools.
That needs to change. The school, because that's where you learn, honestly. I mean, I remember as a kid, we had a little room on the side and some of the parents came out and they taught us, what we need to do. And mind you, the technology has greatly improved over the years, but it is still extraordinarily wasteful. If you think about the landfill alone, this just goes in the garbage. This cannot be recycled.
That's right.
The cup, and I like the fact it is medical grade silicone because a lot of people are very cognizant of what they put in their bodies, not realizing most of the tampons they were using had bleach in them. So, or used bleaching in the process. So that's not something you want in you to absorb. Right. This is at least something that's a healthier alternative. And mind you, yes, it takes some getting used to. And people, some people are reluctant for something new. I get it.
That's right.
But the fact that it, as you said, 3 months to acclimate, I don't think that's any different than when we were preteens learning how to use all of the other stuff. It was an acclimation. It was a learning process. And we just kind of need to get over it and start focusing on what's healthy. It's a health for me. I mean, cost is important. Getting kids back to school and back to work is important. But a healthier alternative, as you said, the STDs are being spread. Women are getting sick with toxic shock syndrome. If you don't know what that is, feel free to Google it. But it's important that we keep our girls and young women safe.
That's right.
And
That's right.
we need, and so across these continents that you're working in, how can people get involved? Because this is a very large task to take on.
Yeah. So we have a nonprofit, and you can find us online at www.couldyu.org. That's COULDYOU. And so we're working in about 12 countries across Africa. We're also serving women and girls here in America, in Ukraine, in Nepal, in India. Wow. So we've served 200,000 so far, and we're publishing our data we collect baseline and end line just to prove not only that girls are using it, but the benefits. And so we're publishing our data in medical journals. And so I'd say if you wanted to follow our journey, you can sign up for about 6 times a year. We do a newsletter. If you wanted to provide a 10-year solution for one of the 2 million girls on our wait list, you can do that for $10. And so one of the things we're trying to do by having podcast interviews, and we're trying to spread the word to say, if you're a company and you have a CSR budget, we have been a really good return on investment. So we've been funded by Victoria's Secret, by Estee Lauder, by a lot of different companies. And it really is, I think, pretty extraordinary when you get to see pictures and stories of girls who are thriving because they have a 10-year solution.
And, even though you mentioned you have some very large backers, funders, you still have a waiting list of 2 million women.
That's right. That's right.
That's extraordinary. How do they find you?
So it's interesting. Right now, we've been word of mouth, And it took us a long time to get people to believe the work. And this is why I say that. For years and years and years, the large organizations that were funding this issue, and there's plenty of them, they all said, and this started even FHI 360, USAID, Gates Foundation, all of them said, we know menstrual equity matters. World Bank says if you don't graduate 12 years of school, if girls don't graduate 12 years of school, it's costing between 15 and $30 trillion in lost income. People know we got to keep girls in school. They know menstrual issues are definitely an area that they have to concentrate on. And yet, all of them, for years and years and years, said, yes, the menstrual cup works in Europe and in America, and we know it's safe, but it does not work in the developing world, and it does not work in Africa. But that's not true. So my organization has worked really hard in the last 5 years to just prove it on the ground. And so we've hit 200,000 users now. So we have 200,000 users in vulnerable communities, in rural communities who are using the cup. And now we finally felt like we had our breakthrough, because last year we were committed money from a consortium of funders, which was Gates Foundation and Children's Investment Fund and USAID. We were really excited because it was a long time coming to get these guys who thought it didn't work to realize it does. So they committed to funding a 3-year study in Kenya and Malawi with Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, and my organization would have been able to support 82,000 girls. We would have been able to prove that it does work at scale. Unfortunately, USAID shut, and we, like many people, lost the money, even though it was promised. The Gates money is still there. And so they're still doing a rigorous RCT study in Kenya with our cup and our work. And that will be over the next 3 years, proving that it decreases teen pregnancy and child marriage, which is good. But I'm an implementer. I'm not a researcher. I trust that there's plenty of research out there. So what I'm hoping is to connect to foundations, family foundations, larger foundations, individuals, and businesses to say, while we find new people to fund the larger things, we are happy to serve as many girls as funding can provide.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm actually surprised that people push back saying it's not possible at scale or won't work, because I'm not sure what that would be based on. It's right now as you said, in Africa, the option may be nothing or this.
Right.
So I don't really see why they wouldn't focus on the cup, which is something tangible, something you can get your hands on and, distribute, equitably.
Yeah. I think people's concerns has been, if you hand someone a pad, there's no explanation necessary. They're not using TAMs, right? So I think their concern was, well, it requires health education. True. But we've proven that if you partner a train the trainer model and you identify in every country, in every community, who are the best organizations or best government entities that already do good sexual health and reproductive work, you just add on. You teach them. They use the cup. Now they know how to use it. You teach them about how to keep it safe, how to clean it. And then they train each other. They train community health workers. They train teachers. It's not rocket science. I mean, it really is doable. And so I'm still an optimist, and I believe we got vetted, we got approved. And so that money fell through, but it doesn't mean that the idea is a bad idea. It now means that more and more people are realizing, no, this thing is good. And so I am on a mission that within the next 10 years, the menstrual cup is as familiar as the tampon.
I full-heartedly support that. I hope it's less than 10 years personally.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be fantastic. So based on, you now have these goals, you have goals for fundraising, you have goals for people to participate, maybe volunteer, getting the word out. How do people join your group? How do they find you?
Yes. So you can find us. We're on all social media platforms. So it's Could You Cup on Facebook, Twitter, or I guess that's X, Instagram, TikTok, and our website. And so I think we are always posting. We have our social media specialist out of Ghana, and we're always posting pictures from around the world, or testimony, or doing video competitions. It really, to me, is something that it's tangible. You can see the person, you can see different cultures that are accepting in different countries, different communities. So yeah, we're on social media, and then you can sign up to connect with us. You can donate, you could, and especially even if you're in a different country. I recently had someone reach out to me from India, and they wanted to try it. And it turns out that we were told for a long time, we didn't know that it would work there. And yet we have seen community after community accept it. And what we find is it's quite easy. As you said earlier, when you are using a rag, you figure it out. Yeah. Of course, it might take a minute, but you figure it out, because otherwise girls are sitting on sand, no joke, in Uganda, in a community where they sit on sand as women and girls, dig a hole and bleed into it. They don't even have underwear to be putting pads on. Like, this is not okay. And so for $1 a year, like, let's just end it. Let's end this one thing and then find the next thing that we want to work on.
I love it. And I had no idea that certain women didn't even have undergarments to, put the pad in. So that's another reason for the cup, because it is, inserted internally and it's safe. So I think the work you're doing is wonderful. And obviously supporting women, supporting young girls, keeping them safe and in school is extremely important, not just to me, but I think to a wide majority of women and men out there. So please keep doing what you're doing. You're an amazing person, and to keep pushing through since 2008. I know you've had some pushback as of recently, I'm sure. So keep doing what you're doing. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. And just to clarify, we started the organization in 2008, but we only pivoted to the cup in 2019.
Oh, 29. Okay. So very recently.
I didn't even hear about the cup until 2018.
And yeah, I heard about it, but I was just like, I don't really know what that is.
And then I learned about it and I started to use it, and I thought, why, what? And so we realized we were focused on education prior to this at the organization. But what we were told was too many girls were missing school as soon as they hit puberty. And that's when we started to look at, well, what can we do? And when I learned about period poverty, and then I learned about the menstrual cup, to me, it felt like, well, this is just obvious. Like, common sense. You have a 10-year solution that's proven to be safe. It's inexpensive. Let's try to get it to as many people as possible.
Absolutely. That you did the perfect problem solving. You saw the gap. You filled the gap.
There it is.
That's the beauty of brilliance. It can be that simple.
And we even manufacture our own cup now, because there's lots of cups out there, but we are manufacturing here in Orange County in California, FDA registered, 100% medical grade silicone. And so we've realized that there's lots of cup companies and there's lots of NGOs doing the health education, but there's no one doing both. So we are doing both. We manufacture our own cup. We also do community sensitization and health education, data collection, and the whole thing. We do all of that, including shipping the cup to you in Africa and paying marginalized women to make the cotton storage bag. We do the whole thing for $10.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So. And
it lasts 10 years, at least 10 years, as you
right.
said.
That's right.
So that's definitely a worthy investment for people to go after. So I will personally be spreading the word on my behalf, and hopefully through this people will see you. But thank you for your time. Thank you for everything you do. This is brilliant work you're doing. I mean,
Wendy, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your work and the ways that you're trying to amplify just solutions. And so we are really grateful, and thank you. And let's see what happens. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Christine, thank you so much for your time today. You're doing great work. Guys, please check out Could You. It's a great organization, menstrual equity. I know people get uncomfortable around it. You just need to get over it. This is just a fact of life. We're all here on the same planet, so get used to it.
Exactly.
On that, I am your host, Wendy Nyson with Environmental Social Justice, and we are now proudly sponsored by BioLargo. They make life better. We'll take care of you guys soon. Talk to you. Bye.